What's going on, guys? It's SCG here, and a 5-star island in Animal Crossing New Horizons is one of the greatest accomplishments a player can achieve, and because of this, it is also one of the most difficult. The game never gives you specifics, and Isabelle's vague clues don't help either, so today I thought I'd show you in 3 simple steps how to get a 5-star island in Animal Crossing New Horizons, along with what to avoid and what rewards you will receive upon getting a perfect score. So step 1 is pretty simple. Just get your island to at the very least 3 stars, have the KK concert, complete all the main story objectives, get the Able Sisters, Nook's Cranny, all that stuff, have 10 villagers on your island campsite, and once you have the ability to terraform. Now, hopefully during the process of achieving your 3-star island, you have added bridges and ramps and the like, and in order to progress towards a 5-star island, you're going to need more, most likely. You're going to need 7 bridges and 6 ramps. These will help boost your score. I don't really know why it's not 7 bridges and 7 ramps, but, you know, it's whatever. Animal Crossing's weird. So get around 7 bridges, 6 ramps, maybe more if you want more, that's fine. Just have around those number totals and you should be good. Now, I know I basically just threw Isabelle under the bus, but you are going to have to listen to her for at least a little bit of the information. So just talk to her. Sometimes she'll give you more specific things. For example, when I didn't have enough fencing, she said add some more fence, or maybe she'll tell you to add more trees, more flowers, more DIY items, or whatever. And other times she'll just say, hey, you need more greenery, or you need more furniture, or whatever. So sometimes she's specific, sometimes she's vague. You just gotta get her on the right day, talk to her, a bunch of times. Maybe she'll give you a different answer, and she'll at the very least tell you what you need more of. So step 1 out of the way. Hopefully we have already completed that by this point. We already have the completed town. So for step 2, I want to get into some more concrete numbers. First, step 2, I'm going to start with the shrubbery. So you're going to need a lot of plants. You're going to need, at the very least, 250 bloomed flowers. This means flowers that have been planted and are blossoming. They have flowers on them. They're not just the buds. They are actually blooming. 250 of those, then 110 fully grown trees. No variety, no specific variety. It can be your native fruit, exotic fruit, palm tree. It can be just a regular plain oak tree. Any of those are fine. They all count towards that 110 tree total. What does not count towards the tree total are bamboo thickets. Those are their own separate number. You're going to need at least 10 fully grown bamboo thickets for the 5-star rating. And if you don't know how to get bamboo shoots, you can get them pretty easily on mystery tours, or if you buy a certain number of turnips, Daisy May will send them to you as well. Lastly, with gardening, make sure to keep your island clean. Make sure there are no weeds. I know a lot of people like the way weeds look, but you're going to have to remove them in order to get a 5-star rating. Weeds do not count towards any points. They subtract points from your total. So keep your island clean of weeds. Also keep them clear of sticks that fall down every day. Make sure to pick those up. Those will also detract from your point total. So just be sure that there are no sticks, no weeds, and everything is all clean. So now that our island has all the public works projects, has a nice variety of greenery, now we're going to need some DIY projects and furniture. So for DIY specific items, these are items that you craft on a crafting table. You get a recipe, you craft them, pretty self-explanatory. You're going to need at least 50 to 60 pieces of DIY furniture or items spread about the island. You're going to need at least 20 pieces of Nook Miles furniture. These are, of course, items you buy at the ABD machine with Nook Miles. And then you're going to need at least 40 pieces of furniture that you bought at the Nook's Cranny store. Now, with all of these pieces of furniture and items, size does matter. If you have larger pieces, they will count for more points. That's why they are more estimates. Like for the DIY, it's 50 to 60, because you can have maybe like a lighthouse that'll count for more points, whereas a lamp just around your island or a smaller item placed somewhere will not count for as many points. So yeah, just try to go for the bigger items, and it'll count for more points. So get as many pieces of furniture spread around in an even and orderly fashion, and you will be in good shape. Also, last side note with furniture, the price of pieces of furniture does not matter at all. If you have the most expensive pieces of furniture, like the complete gold set on your island, that will not count as any more points than like a messy bed or a messy dresser. So it's mainly the size. The size matters more than the price. So just look for the size of the items more than the price of the items. So don't go out wasting your bells on expensive items. They will not count towards your point total. Just keep it down in the range that you can afford. Now, lastly, in the sort of furniture item crafting section is the pieces of fencing. You're going to need at least 50 to 200 pieces of fencing around the island. So yeah, line up that fencing, make some like fenced in areas, fence around your house, fence around villagers' houses, I don't know, just spread that fencing around, put it along paths, put it in whatever neat way you can, and you should be good. So if you've done those 3 things, you should be in pretty good shape to get a 5-star island. But there are a few things you should avoid when doing all these steps. One is, I know I said weeds and sticks, but really any item that is placed around your island, you're going to need to pick up. Any item on the ground is going to count towards points against your score, so be sure to pick up items. The game basically treats them like trash, so pick them up, keep your island tidy, and you should be good. I do not believe items on, say, tables count. I think only items on the ground count towards your point total. So just make sure to keep the ground clear, have all those items picked up and stored away somewhere. Secondly, trees, they add to your points if you have 110, maybe even more, but if you have too many trees, that will detract from your points total. If you have more than 220 trees on your island, you will start losing points instead of gaining them. So keep the tree total down. Don't have a thick forest on your island. It will detract from your points. So keep that tree total below 220. And then lastly, here is I have dropped the word organized and neat around in this video, and that is important. Keep your island neat, but also make sure that pieces of furniture are in some sort of order. Make sure like chairs are next to tables, item sets are matched together, paths are even and straight, fencing is even and straight in some cohesive pattern. The game doesn't like it if you just randomly place stuff around, so keep some things in some sort of order. You'll get more points for order than you will for disorder, so just keep that as neat as possible. So if you have completed all 3 steps and you have avoided any of the negative things that you can do on your island, you should be in perfect shape to receive that 5-star rating. And if you do, congratulations, it is a momentous occasion. You should be proud of yourself for doing this hard, very difficult thing to do. And your reward is going to be a golden watering can, which will break. I know, it's not fun, but you'll get a golden watering can. So that's your reward. If you have a 5-star island, you get a golden watering can from Isabelle. She'll give it to you. It doesn't do anything special. It does the sweeping thing that the watering cans do that you can get at Nook's Cranny. It breaks just like any other watering can. Basically, I would recommend you put it up on a shelf because that is going to be the best use of it. Just showing it off to people, hey, I got a 5-star island. That's basically it. Another thing you can receive are Lily of the Valley flowers. These are what used to be called Jacob's Ladder flowers in previous Animal Crossing titles. Once you have a perfect island, they will just sprout around the cliffs. I believe they can only live on the cliffs, so if you bring them inland, they will die. So keep them along the cliffs. One will spawn in per day as long as you have a perfect island. So you got a cool flower and you got a cool watering can. That's about it. In my opinion, Nintendo should give you something more for this, like a cooler tool or something neat, maybe a better reward. A watering can that doesn't break, that would be great, Nintendo. That would be really great, but they don't do it. So you have the overwhelming feeling of accomplishment and bragging rights, which are really all that count. That's about it. Those are the steps you need to take. It will take some time. A lot of this stuff involves a lot of plants growing and items that you have to purchase. I know I mentioned some like cold hard numbers. Some of these totals are not speculative, but are going off of what players have said. A lot of players who have had their 5-star town have counted up all their items and come to the conclusion that you need a certain number of this, a certain number of that. So these are not like Nintendo's official numbers. They are what some hackers have come across in the data, and they are just numbers that players who have completed this accomplishment have come across. So these are not accurate. Like I said, some of them are wide ranges. For example, fencing, you can have 50 to 200, and all these, this is all like a math equation. I'm sure if you had more DIY items and more furniture, you'll need less fencing, whereas if you have more fencing, you might need a little bit fewer of the DIY items. Same with plants. There's a range there. You know, a lot of these numbers are like around this number, but they're not concrete. So go above and beyond, go past the numbers that are recommended. That is my suggestion, because it will most likely lead to you getting a perfect 5-star island. Lastly, I just wanted to dispel any misconceptions that people might be having or questions with this process. One of them is, will the item value count towards the score? And the answer is no, it will not. If you have golden beds and like golden cabinets all around your island, it will not increase your score at all. Next is, do bushes count? And there is not really much information on this. Everywhere I've read, bushes don't seem to count that much because the 5-star feature was obviously implemented before bushes became a thing in Animal Crossing. So I would assume that bushes count more as flowers. So if you have a lot of flowers already, you probably don't need to add bushes. You don't need to worry about those. I don't think bushes detract from the score. I don't really think they add much. You can put them there if you want. They're really there for your own personal pleasure, not for the score of the island. Last question is, does terraforming count towards your perfect island score? And it's the same answer as the last two. It's basically no. Terraforming does not count towards your island score. Whatever fancy little waterfall thing you did in front of your island or whatever, that does not count at all. The bridges count and the ramps count, but the cliffs don't and the water doesn't. It doesn't matter how wide your rivers are. If you have a giant lake, it's not going to count towards your points. In fact, you're probably going to take away points because you don't have items in that space that's being wasted by water. So that about does it for today's video. If you enjoyed, do all the things people do when they enjoy a video, like subscribe, support me on Patreon, all that stuff. If you have any questions regarding this process, be sure to leave that in the comments down below. I may have made mistakes in this video. This information is not speculative, as I said before. These are not official numbers from Nintendo. I have made errors before in the turnip video and in the villager video about villagers leaving and stuff, so information changes often with this. I read information as it is. I try to get as many sources as possible, and currently all the sources I'm reading are telling me that the processes that I've showed you in this video are correct and the best way to get a 5-star store. So if you believe I'm wrong, then you can tell me in the comments and I'll look into it, and I'll make a correction in the comments if I am wrong. So if you have a correction for me, leave it down there. If you have a question, leave it down there. And any recommendations for future videos, Animal Crossing, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, any other video game you want me to do a video on, I will do. So that does it. I have been Steven, your semi-comprehensive guide, and be sure to have a wonderful rest of your day.